Welcome back. You're still watching Daybreak on this 28th day of November 2022, a very important day for several learners, more than 3 million if you're to include the KCSE candidates. And the KCPE and KPSE learners are starting the examinations. They have different pictures from different locations. And I want to show you some images from Kajiado County, where CS for Health, that is Wafula Nakumicha, was witnessing the opening of containers and distribution of examination papers. Those are the images that you see there. And of course, this is an exercise that is going on across the country, across different containers, more than 400, that are the centers of distribution of examination materials to the institutions where learners are witnessing this examination. Listen in. That is CS Susan Wafula Nakumicha witnessing that process, and it continues across the country. And I have panelists here in studio. I have John Kagusha, who is the Member of Parliament for Mukurweini constituency. I have David Kosing, who is the Member of Parliament for Pokot South constituency, and I have Gladys Boss, the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, but also the woman representative of Uasin Gishu County. And I want to just pick their views and what they think about the start of the examinations today. John Kagusha, the first time that grade 6 learners will be sitting an examination, though uncertain where they head after here, because a decision is yet to be reached on whether they should proceed to the secondary schools or they should remain in primary schools. What are your thoughts this morning?
Thank you, Sam, and good morning, our viewers and listeners. I want to take this opportunity to wish all our candidates the very best, and in particular, I want to wish the candidates who are sitting from Mukurweini constituency, where I represent. I want to wish them success and pray for God's courage and strength to and memory, good memory, that they are able to pass these exams with flying colors. I know they have worked very hard. And I also wish all Kenyans, students and candidates all the best in these exams. We have the examination that is now being handled at class 6. And of course, there is a bit of uncertainty as to where these students or pupils will go to. And our prayer and hope is that nobody sends them to join the high schools where you have the older children who already cleared class 8. Mm-hmm. And I know there's a prayer of most of the parents that this junior secondary school will be retained in primary schools, so that we do not have to get into a crisis also whereby young children are going to interact with older children. In some of the areas, mm-hmm. parents are actually confused. They don't know how to go about even the cultural and social issues like circumcision and initiation. They don't know, do they go through that process now at this time for these standard 6 boys, or do they wait until when they are now through with the 2 years in the junior secondary school? So it's something that many parents would hope and pray that the junior secondary school is actually retained. And I want to hope and believe that is this part of what the task force is going to recommend. Otherwise, it's a new dispensation, it's a new system, the CBC system, and it's new to everyone. So we are seeing it as it is unfolding.
Many months ago, you once told me that you are a CBC parent. What level are you now?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are there. We are part of the candidates.
Oh, you're grade 6.
Yeah, of course. That's we moved with a kid from class 4. I think class 3, class 4, 5, 6. Now there we are. Yeah,
that's interesting. So those might actually be personal views as well as the constituency.
No, okay. What I did, to be honest, Sam, at some point I changed the system.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, from the 844 system. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my girl is now in year 6, but now not in the CBC system.
Okay.
So we were in CBC when we were in Nyeri. Uh-huh. Early this year we moved back to Nairobi, uh-huh. and so we changed the system. So we are in a different system now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. And of course, things have changed also. You are Speaker of Nyeri, now you speak at the National Assembly.
Let's not discuss that so much.
Honorable Kosing, what are your thoughts? Yes, a bit of confusion, but here is an examination. So if a decision is made that grade 7 or junior secondary should be domiciled in the primary schools, what becomes of this national examination, KPSE? What relevance does it carry?
You know, Sam, I think there is a common thinking outside there, or I would say prayer. And before I say that prayer from parents, I want to wish the students, candidates, who are going to see this double exam from my constituents, the great people of Pokot South. I want to wish them success for the grade 6 and also for the class 8. I want to wish them success, and I'm very sure they will win. Now, Sam, I think the prayer outside there from parents is that, particularly these class 6 kids, these are too small kids, really, very small kids. And most of them are with parents. They're going to primary school in the morning, coming back in the evening. So when you take these kids now and say, okay, well, they finished class 8, the class 6, they go to junior secondary school next year, which is maybe perhaps in a normal secondary school. And most of our secondary schools are boarding. So when you take these small kids to a boarding, what happens? Really, parents are not very happy about that. In fact, they're recommending and saying, they're praying, and I'm sure that is, and I agree with my colleague John, that maybe the task force has looked at that let the junior secondary school, particularly maybe the 3 classes of the junior secondary school, let it be done within the precincts of the primary school. There's no problem. Then they can now move from this class to another class, but within the same environment they were living in, so that, you know, Sam, so that we as parents get an opportunity to mentor our children until when they are also almost a ripe age. Maybe when they're in class 8 or 11, like that, they can now go to secondary school. That is the biggest prayer from our parents. And because we are parents as well, and we are also representing them, we thank you for giving us this opportunity to speak also to government so that they can listen and say, please, let it be in the primary school. In terms of CBC, I'm a supporter of CBC, Sam.
Right.
I'm a supporter of CBC for a very good reason. And the good reason is, if it is inculcating our children skills, right? If it is inculcating our children skills, then that is the best thing we want. You know why? What is the reason of educating somebody, in books, white-collar job, and there are no jobs? So what happens? You read physics to become a doctor. Until when you finish university, you are reading physics. You have been forced to read physics. When you finish physics, there's no space science. There's no space job. So what happens? You come and take care of cows in Pokot South. It doesn't work. So it's better then to educate this kid from the primary school to start learning skill-based. And then you can be able to assess the kid and say, look, you know what? This can be a scientist. This can be a farmer. And we start appreciating that farming also can create jobs. So then our people can be able to learn and even go to university and even have a PhD. But you are a farmer, like what happens in Europe. So in terms of the CBC by itself, myself, I'm supporting it from the basis of skills. But these kids who are sitting exams in class 6, let them be retained in primary school in their junior secondary school.
Okay. Honorable Boss, I haven't spoken to you since you became Deputy Speaker, so allow me to say congratulations. I know you've been on the show, but this is from me to you. Tell me about your views about this process and what should happen of this national assessment, KPSEA, at grade 6, whatever happens to grade 7 domiciling.
Okay. Thank you for having me, and it's good to see you again. I've seen you others, but I haven't seen you. And I'll start by just wishing all the candidates the best in their examinations. I will wish them that they are they have the peace of mind and the calmness that will help them get through the exams. Particularly those from Wasingishu County. I know each of them have received a personal message, handwritten message from me, and they know what I've said to them. I think talking about this current system, I think this is an opportune time for government to discuss about the education system, because in any case, I think it's said that every education system should be reviewed every 5 years. And so this is the right time, actually, that we are talking about it. We have tried it. We have seen the good and the bad of the CBC system. And so it's our chance as a country to now look at it and reset it on the right path. I think on 2 things on CBC. I'm also pleading, as Honorable Kosin has done, with those in the education sector, please do not take the small children to the secondary schools. Don't do it.
Don't.
As a mother, I have 2 generations of children, and I've seen the difference is completely what they are learning, what they are exposed to, what they are thinking. The changes in their own bodies are totally different from those in secondary school. You cannot put them together. You'll be putting these young ones in harm's way. The challenges that the older children are facing are very different. You know very well, and everyone knows, that some of our secondary schools are having issues with drug addiction, alcohol. So can you imagine a 16-year-old being exposed to that, or a 14-year-old being exposed to that? It's a challenge that they are not even ready to deal with, and even the parents will not know how to deal with it, and the teachers too. So I think it's very ill-advised. And this you don't have to be an education expert, you just have to be a parent and know that the difference between the 2 age groups is night and day. On the CBC, yes, inculcating skills in our children is a very important thing. But I differ on some issues. Yesterday, I had someone speak on TV and say, oh, you know, CBC is good because now our children have learned how to knit, they've learned how to sew, they've learned how to cook. And I'm thinking to myself, when I grew up, I can knit, but I was taught by my mother. I can sew, but I was taught by my mother. I can cook, but I was taught by my mother. It's the things you did every day at home. So if parents have gotten to the point where I'm sending my children to school to learn how to, the basic life skills, because cooking is a life skill. If you eat, you must know how to cook. If you live on a farm, you must know how to grow food because that's the food that you eat. Those are normal things. But I support CBC if we took it a little notch higher. For example, you tell yourself, if you are in an area where people are using tuk-tuks and boda-bodas, then at least the skill you should be teaching the children at school is the mechanics of a motorbike, so that a child can be able to open a motorbike apart and repair it. You want to teach them the parts of a car, so that if you tell me CBC is going to teach our kids how to change oil in a car, how to service a motorbike, how to repair a bicycle, which are the things they meet every day, then that makes sense. And that is still physics, but it's physics that is designed to our normal lifestyle.
Right.
I see you live on a farm. You learn how to inject a cow. You will learn many people I know on my farm can inseminate cows, yet they've not studied it, but it's a skill they've acquired. And so those are the basics. Tell yourself, if you're in an area where there's a pastoralist area, then you make sure that when you teach the science, then you're teaching science, animal science, or science that is suitable for that area. Right. That the children learn. You'd assume that in a pastoralist community where we see cows during drought dying, then you want to teach children that you can actually grow fodder and store it. Teach them how to make silage, which can be stored for up to 5 years, and the food will be available for the cattle during the drought. So that is life skills, but not when you now take it until it becomes a joke. Teaching a child that I went to school to learn how to slaughter a chicken. I learned how to slaughter a chicken, I think, since I was like 6 years old. At home? I could do it. I can slaughter a goat. Those are things you learned as a kid. Yes. It happened every day in front of your eyes, and you participated in it. So those are not things you're sending children to school. Now parents are taking it a bit too far. If your parents can't teach you those skills, then something is terribly wrong. Also, lastly, on the issue of saying that you want to move the junior secondary to the secondary schools, the problem with that is we know very well that almost 70% of our secondary schools don't have enough accommodation. Children are sleeping on top of each other. They are packed in those dormitories like sardines. So imagine now shifting another set. In fact, I believe that we should, as far as possible, all our schools up to Form 4 should be day schools. Day schools. Yes, except we then put our resources for boarding schools in areas where the environment is such that the children, it's safer for them to be in a boarding school. For example, if If it's an informal settlement like Kibra, then I want the school to be boarding because it's better for the children, the environment not very good for them. But if they're in the villages where they walk through trees and nice, beautiful environment to get to school, when they're in safety because the rural areas are usually safe, then you want those to be day schools.
Okay.
And then, or pastoralist communities who are moving from place to place, then you want boarding schools so that the children don't have to miss school on account of the lifestyle. So it doesn't make sense to want to put children in secondary school, yet we don't even have classrooms.
So that would mean that a majority of learners then will have to study within their own localities if it's day school.
Sorry?
I'm saying if it's day school, then it will mean that learners will mostly have to study within their localities.
Yes. And by the way, you know, Sam, I've walked around to many, many schools in Uasin Gishu County. The conditions in which our children are learning are deplorable. I have sometimes go to a school and you hear the headmaster telling me, please, we want to make it boarding. And I tell him, you don't even have enough classrooms and seats for the children. How will you buy mattresses and so on? So I think it's because many teachers want the schools to be made secondary because I think the capitation to the school is additional, but it doesn't serve our children. I think the media go to those boarding schools and see how those children live.
Okay. All right. Crispin Otieno is in Kisii County. He'll be speaking to us shortly, but I want us now to take a short break. When we return, we'll be speaking about different matters that have to do with the latest storm of our IEBC. Stay tuned.